Can you? Yes. Good morning, everybody. My name is Al Edmondson, and I am the president of the Mount Vernon Avenue District Improvement Association, which is one of the things that we try to do with the District Improvement Association to make this community a great place to live, work, and worship. First of all, I just want to give all praises to God for finally answering prayers of the community, the residents, and the businesses in the Near East Side. And we want to give thanks to Mayor Coleman for his commitment, and to City Council, Director Stafford and his team, and all the state and government officials and Attorney General for the commitment to making our community a safe place for our children, for our residents, and for our businesses. This is the first step of many that will help make the Near East Side a great place to live, work, and worship. And I don't want to further this anymore, but I would like to introduce a man that I admire, a man that I see his commitment to small communities like ours and across the city to make them better and stronger. Without further ado, Mayor Michael B. Coleman, my friend.
Thank you, Al. Al is one of the leaders of this neighborhood, and we could do very little without his great leadership to lead the community and trying to make this community an even better place. You know, it is becoming a better place because there's a lot going on in this neighborhood. Thanks to the Columbus Pact and all the partnership between the Ohio State University, the City of Columbus, CMHA, and all the work we're doing in the area. Great partners like the Noble Long condominium unit is now selling. We have 12 new energy efficient accessible single family homes nearby. We have the Affordable Housing Trust of Columbus and Franklin County's new office building right down the street on Long Street, and 10 new affordable units on the upper floors of that building. And things are coming around. Columbus Metropolitan Housing Authority acquired the Whitney development, and we have 28 market rate rentals soon to be available. Things are happening. But there's this one giant eyesore standing in the middle of all this progress that is developing in the city of Columbus, right here in this neighborhood. A blight, a tooth-decayed building. This Poindexter Tower, I pass by often, and I look at it and I say, it's got to come down, because it's a symbol of where we've been, not of where we're going. So, but it is also a bitter reminder of the work yet to be done in this neighborhood. We got a lot to do. Its tearing down, however, represents the blight that must be erased to achieve the progress we must strive to reach in this neighborhood. And it's coming down today. I've been waiting a long time to see it coming down, and it's coming down today. This is a monument to misery in this community. And we're turning this misery into hope and the seeds of change, and we're going to improve the quality of life in this neighborhood. So help me God. We've traveled a long way to get here, and we have a lot of partners that have worked together with us. Director Boyd Safford, sometimes called Stafford, standing behind me, has done a great job in helping to make this happen. City Attorney Rick Pfeiffer and Franklin County Prosecutor Ron O'Brien helped gain control of the building. We're thankful of them. And then the Franklin County Treasurer, Ed Leonard, he came up, he did what had to get done. But my God, it was slower than molasses getting those mortgages. But it happened because there were so many mortgages here that had to be addressed. And I understand that. And going through it, it's a difficult legal maneuvering that needed to take place before we could swing the wrecker ball to take this thing down. So I turned to Treasurer Ed Leonard for his great work in this regard. And I thank you, Ed, for your work. And Attorney General Mike DeWine, I want to thank you as well, because we'll be reimbursed, and this is a good word here. It's about money. We'll be reimbursed for half the cost through the federal mortgage settlement funds from Franklin County Treasurer Ed Leonard and Attorney General Mike DeWine. And Attorney General Mike DeWine, I appreciate this. You know, wasn't long ago, a few years ago, I took then Senator Mike DeWine through the old Lincoln Theater. And you remember that, Mike? And I said, you know, we're on a process. And at that time, the Lincoln Theater was about to fall down. And now look at it. It is now a jewel that has attracted thousands of people to this neighborhood. So we come back here, Mike, as Attorney General. He's helping us tear this down. So I'm grateful for that. So I'd like to thank everybody who participated. I'm sure I missed some folks, and I don't mean to. But I'd like to bring Attorney General Mike DeWine up to say a few words.
It is always good to work with the mayor. The mayor and I worked together when I was in the United States Senate, as he indicated. And Mayor, we look forward to continuing to work with you, not just today, but in the future. I might tell you a little bit about how I got involved in this. If you all remember the robo settlement or the robo scandal that was occurring, and this came out of the mortgage crisis that we had, and it turned out that some of the servicers were doing things that they should not have done. And all the attorney generals went together in the country, and we worked out a settlement with them. And that settlement's going to bring about over $300 million back to Ohio. Not tax dollars, but money from these people and these companies that did bad things. About $200 million of that is going to go back to homeowners, people who have lost their homes because of the mortgage crisis. But about $93 million of that went to my office to be given out to help indirectly deal with this crisis. And I made the decision, and I think I'm the only Attorney General in the country that decided to do this, to put the great bulk of that money into helping some victims that some people I think sometimes forget about. I've walked through neighborhoods in this state, in every major city, and some of the real victims of the mortgage crisis are those individuals, those families that remain in the neighborhood. They pay their mortgage, they pay their rent, they do what they should do, they hang in there, but yet next door to them is some house that's falling down, that's turned into a crack house, or it just totally falling down, and it's not only an eyesore in the neighborhood, but it's a threat to the kids who are trying to play, and the property values of these victims who have played by the rules and done the right thing, their property values going down because they live next to a house that is falling down. And so what we decided to do is to take $75 million of this and to spread it around the state. Mayor, you're going to get, in total in Franklin County, is going to be over $8 million from that settlement. So you can knock a lot of houses down and do a lot of things with the $8 million. And the mayor and the community and the county have put in another $7.5 million. So we're really pushing almost $16 million that we've been able to leverage that will be used to make our neighborhoods safer and better. And I think what the mayor was talking about is absolutely the key. This is about neighborhoods. This is about restoring neighborhoods. This is about restoring our communities and making it a better place for our families to live. So, Mayor, thank you for your partnership. It is always good to work with you, and we look forward to working with you more in the future.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very very much. So, a couple things to help this dream come true. I'm sure these young people of Champion Middle over here. Let's hear it. Champion! All right, Champion. I know you got to fix only one thing with your school, and that's that gentleman with that Michigan shirt on. Coming to my press conference. Now, what's wrong with you? And Youth Build as well is here. Youth Build. You helping all of you. I know have had a dream, and part of that dream is to tear this building down because of what it represents. And the Attorney General said we had several $1 million associated with demolitions. Well, the right figure, the figure that all combined, money all in from the city, the county, the Attorney General's office, is $22 million. $22 million to tear down vacant, abandoned buildings that need to come down in order for us to build up the city. So we've had, in order to do these things, you got to have great partners and great leaders, and those who are willing to go to bat for us, to fight for us on city council. Because we can't set aside this kind of money without the support and the leadership of city council. So I want to bring up Zach Klein here, who is instrumental in helping to set aside these resources. And I have Herschel Craig here as well. But if Zach Klein could come up, who's chairman of the development committee, to say a few words about this. Thank you.
Yeah. Good morning to everyone. I'm Zach Klein, member of Columbus City Council, and certainly want to thank the mayor and the partnership that we have with the Near East Side, with the Attorney General DeWine, with County Treasurer Leonard, who has taken many steps to make the county land bank happen, and the collaboration that we're working with the county and the state to tear down this building that once was an icon of housing for this part of town, and by and the irony is by tearing it down, it's going and putting it back into productive use. This land, in conjunction with what PAC is doing over to my left here, is going to be the rebirth of this part of Columbus. And that's what happens when you can tear down buildings. It's not bad that things are being torn down, because then you get to rebuild. It gets to be a rebirth, and that's exactly the focus of me in development, on the economic development side, jobs, but also on the housing side, of using the resources from our settlement and using city resources to invest in neighborhoods. And sometimes it means building new housing stock, but by building new housing stock, it means tearing down what's there, because strong and safe neighborhoods are the cornerstone of our community, and the city council is focused on strong and safe neighborhoods and doing what we can to rebuild the neighborhoods that need help. And this is really the step in the direction that we're going to be taking. So I applaud the partnership with the Attorney General's office, applaud the partnership with the Mayor's office, our private partners to make this happen, because this is the important step in the right direction. Thank you so much.
You heard that message, tear down before we can build back up, so we can build back up. And a part of that effort is someone who really has stuck to this over a long period of time. He's the one that worked to make sure that we could do this legally. I mean, there were often times where I had a flashback to Buck Reinhardt driving along here, whether I just should jump in this thing and just tear it down. But Ed Leonard said, no, let's do it right. Let's do it right. Let's get the legal authority to do this. And he has worked real hard to go through the legal process to get here today. So, Treasurer Ed Leonard.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you all for being here. And I especially want to thank all the young people for being here, because, again, it is an opportunity to see in action the change that's going to occur in your community. And so I'm glad that you're all here. You might wonder, and I appreciate all the accolades the mayor laid on, but you might wonder, why is the Franklin County Treasurer at an event celebrating the demolition of an abandoned apartment building? And to understand that, you kind of have to go back to what the property was before it deteriorated to the point that we find it today. There was actually one last redevelopment effort that took place, and it was a failed redevelopment effort, but That previous effort in 1996 resulted in the apartments in this building being converted to 101 separately owned condominium units. The 101 units, 32 of them never got sold. For us to be able to even take possession and begin demolition, we had to bring the ownership of all these condo units had to be deeded to the county. And that legal complication took years to unwind. And we worked with prosecuting attorney Ron O'Brien. We set about the tedious, time-consuming task of identifying, contacting the owners when possible, and then filing tax foreclosure lawsuits whenever necessary. And those owners we could reach, we asked them to contribute their ownership into that redevelopment effort. And those we couldn't reach, or those who had died since they had vacated the property, those properties had to be taken through the long legal process to resolve the ownership issues. And again, I want to recognize prosecuting attorney Ron O'Brien and his folks who shouldered that task and helped perform it with great diligence. You know, our effort would not have succeeded without the support of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners. The success of gaining control over all the units also could not have been accomplished without the hard work of Joel Tieford, who's the executive director of the Central Ohio Community Improvement Corporation. He deserves a round of applause. I also want to recognize Linda Craig and Stephen Port from my office, who really spearheaded it from our standpoint. They did a great job for us. And I didn't want to let their efforts go unnoticed, and without my sincere thanks. As we got to the end of the litigation of all these ownership issues, we began engaging Columbus officials in anticipation of the ultimate demolition of this building. And City Attorney Rick Pfeiffer and his staff shepherded the environmental case and secured the order of demolition that brings us here today, so I want to extend my thanks to City Attorney Rick Pfeiffer. My thanks also goes to Columbus City Council and Councilman Zach Klein for their support of this effort throughout the process, and obviously special thanks and recognition goes to Mayor Coleman, Development Director Safford and his team. They played an instrumental role throughout this process, and they most especially coordinated in funding the actual demolition of this work. But I also want to thank Attorney General Mike DeWine for the vision that he's demonstrated in the Moving Ohio Forward grant program. That's also provided some of the funding, and as he mentioned, $8.2 million in funding, and that part of those funds are going to the demolition of this structure, and it'll provide for demolition funds for many neighborhoods throughout Columbus and Central Ohio. And the great thing about it is the commitment of those monies to the demolition of residential properties is going to free our county land bank up to use some of its resources to renovate, because we don't want to be just the Franklin County Demolition Corporation. We want to be the Franklin County Revitalization Corporation, and that's part of what we're doing today is revitalization. And I wanted to turn for a moment to the failed condo conversion effort that I mentioned earlier that occurred in late 1990s. That effort sought to provide affordable housing for senior citizens in our community. The seniors who lived here had hoped to call this place their home for the rest of their days. And unfortunately, that hope vanished when this building became functionally and financially obsolete. It became a safety hazard, a concrete remnant of another time, and a crime hazard. So those seniors lost so much when the building had to be vacated. And I didn't want their loss to be forgotten today, because it's from their loss that real hope for a brighter future takes place in this space. It's really with great pride that I stand here today. I knew when I began to undertake the effort to get all these condominium, the 101 condo units consolidated under county ownership, whether it was demolition or whether it was renovation, whatever became of this property was going to be an improvement for this community. So I'm always going to look back on the removal of this eyesore, the removal of this scar on the landscape of this neighborhood, as one of my proudest accomplishments as Franklin County Treasurer. So I'm proud because I know the impact that removing this eyesore is going to have in this community. The effort is a testament to what can be accomplished when leaders from all levels of government, all parts of our community, come together to make a positive impact in the community. And it's been a long struggle to get to this day, but the day is here. When this building is gone, this space is going to be ready for a vibrant rebirth. The future for this space holds great promise. It holds great opportunity. Whatever bright future awaits, it's only possible because of the hard work, dedication, and vision of so many that are here with us today. And my sincerest thanks to all of you.
Thank you, Ed. You know, life is interesting, and I wanna tell you how far we've come. You know, someone in the city attorney's office, she does a great job. Jiza Page is right back there, city attorney's office, and she's all, "What are you calling me?" Well, I'm calling her out because she's in the city attorney's office. She works on demolitions in the city. She works really hard on vacant and abandoned housing to get control of them and tear them down. Her father is a guy by the name of Jerry Page. Jerry Page is a world champion, Golden Gloves champion, who works right here at Beatty Recreation Center. Life's interesting, isn't it? So I'm so excited about this, I'm gonna jump in this thing and tear it down myself. But before I do so, I want to hear from these folks over here. And what I want you to say after me is, tear it down to build it up. Now repeat after me. Tear it down, to build it up. Tear it down, to build it up. Tear it down, to build it up. Let's go tear it down.
Oh yeah, right. Hit the